Go.
Alright, today we're going to be doing front brakes on a 2008 Chevy Cobalt. Let's get going. Got to take off these sweet hubcaps. Before you jack it up, you're going to want to take off. You want to break the lug nuts loose because the wheels will just spin once it's up in the air. Do the same on the other side. And you jack it up along the pinch weld here. Make sure the parking brake's on so it doesn't roll away on you. Nice and high, so you have room to work. Up on the jack stand. Let it down easy. If I take a look here, that's your brake rotor, your caliper. Let's see if we can see in the dark here. Alright. This guy holds the caliper on. So does this guy. Fell down. That guy there. And that guy. I'm gonna take those off. See what happens. Alright. Don't need that. Yes. There she is. Sucker off. Knee leverage. Ah! So these are the kind of further out ones, not the ones way in the back there. 14 millimeter. If you acknowledge the authority of the metric system. I don't know what SAE size there are, fractional. Because that's for losers. Americans. Alright, so there's that.
Those were the slider pin.
Yep, slider pin bolts. Take Babby pry bar, yank that sucker off. Oh! Now you don't want to hang your poor caliper by the hose, because that's how feelings get hurt. So you get a good old bungee cord or some wire, sticker in there.
Yeah, that's kind of big. First time I've seen somebody do that.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Car, when I get a car in my hands, it's usually less broken when I'm done with it, at least half the time. Alright, so there's that guy. This is the old rotor. These pads. Get them out of there. You see Audi? Nice guy there? Not so bad. Oh, get off! Stop it! Alright. Tri-Bar Jr. Inside,
Yeah, that don't look.
some things happened.
Yeah. How long ago were those done?
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rotors are all jacked up. Alright.
I was gonna say.
Going in the back.
Did those, then you got some real problems.
So, the back bolt's holding this bit of the caliper on. 15-ish. I don't know what the fractional one would be. Yeah, it's a 17 millimeter. That won't do it. Yeah, there we go. Man. Yeah. Neat leverage. What? There she goes. And you have yourself a nice frisbee. Yeah. Pad sits there. It's supposed to break along this whole section. No. About half of it was working. So, might have a caliper issue, but leaving that on. Leave it up to fate. Looks good enough for now. And that's that. Alright, so got these fancy pants Monroe. $10 extra at your CAP. Comes with lube, instructions, all your new hardware, which a lot of brakes that don't. Gotta reuse the garbage stuff. So this is nice. Get off. Oh yeah, it's nice and fresh. A little before and after for you. Oh yeah. That's a new pad. No,
Yeah.
not as good. So, and these guys, little clipper there. Once it gets low enough, this bit scrapes on the rotor. And that's how we knew the brakes needed to be done. She was screaming at you when you drove. Alright, throw this bad boy on. If you want to make sure it comes off a couple years later in New England, you can lube her up. Not too worried about it, because the other ones came off nice and easy. Slam that sucker on. What? Alright. But I'll throw them more nuts.
No, they're right,
Don't threaten me, mister.
right there.
Yeah, I know. So, if you don't want it flopping around while you work, you can throw one of these guys back on. Oh, man. Tight and right. Yeah. So, these are your slider pins that help it go as it needs to. So one very important part is make sure those are clean and lubed up. Got that good old grease straight from the factory. Several 8-ish years ago. Instead of blaming the caliper, this could have contributed to the uneven pad wear. And then you hold the bellows, jam her back in there, get that extra lube out. Make sure the rubber sits flush on there. Do so with the other one. So this guy, fuck that, got, oh my language, got a new one. So, oh dear, it does not look like a steady, steady. Put it in the right spot. Alright, you just gotta line her up, slam it in there.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There you go, that's where your pads slide. Want to lube those suckers up, but avoid getting too much in the middle, because you don't want to lube up your braking surfaces. It's the good stuff. Alright. I think that's it for now. I'm gonna put these guys back in. Where's my empty seat? There she is.
It'd be like some people and throw Loctite on it.
You don't want that.
No. Never ending frustration.
Couple minutes in New England, that'll be locked up well enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So, getting this guy back on. Right direction. As she was before, just slide it in nice. Bolts in the back, as before. Maybe a bit of a pain to line up the bolt holes, but it'll happen. Top and bottom. Wiggle it around to get in that hole. Alright. So, once those are in, tighten them up nice and good. Don't want to forget. Don't go crazy on it, but you don't want those coming loose. Alright. Good to go. Time for some pads. So, they only gave you 2 of these. On the old one, it was on the inner pad. So we're gonna put it back on there. Just line up that bit with the little divot there. Good to go. Put it on the right direction. Actually, I'll show you the other one first. You could also lube these up instead of lubing this area, but that's already lubed. Put it in the right way. So you line up that with that, get her in, right in there. There you go. You want to lube up the back surfaces to, for one thing, prevent noise. Now these, I guess, prevent chatter or something. Lube up the points where that'll sit over it. On the back it'll be the single piston in the middle. Make sure you keep these nice and clean, don't jam your greasy thumb all over it. Get it in same as the front. And there you are. You got this caliper bracket, or what have you, bolted in nice and tight. So, this is pushed out to fit around the old ones. You're gonna need to push her back in. I don't think I mentioned, I didn't put these old guys back on because they came with new ones. Normally, you would have to reuse, if you got some cheap pads, you'd have to reuse all this stuff. Lube these suckers up, maybe clean them before, throw them all in, lube some things, embrace the rust, move on with your life. A caliper compression tool, or whatever you call it, sits in like that. Oh yeah, you can also use big pair of pliers, C-clamp, whatever you got. Okay, I want to check the brake fluid. Good enough. Because you don't really want to top off your brake fluid, because as the brakes get bad, it goes down. But once you replace the brakes, it'll go back up. Go right out, shooting right out of there if you've topped it off. But that can happen if you're not careful. You're down, Bungie. Get out of there. Alright. So you can set that sucker back in. Rotate it down. As you twist it, you can see it's sinking back in where it belongs. Get back in. What are you doing? Get back in. Want to push it in as far as it'll go, so that you have extra room to maneuver this back onto the pads and rotor. Sorry. Alright. Smooth like butter. Now you have to have the slide pins sit in, and the flat bit kind of want against that flat bit, if you can see. Zoom on the bottom. And then slide pin bolts. The little ones you take off first. Again, it might be hard lining up the holes. You get the lift and wiggle. The old standby lift and wiggle. Never lets you down. There. So, these are 14mm. Before taking off my 15, I'm gonna get back in there, double check that I actually tighten these. With brakes, you want to at least triple check everything. It's pretty embarrassing if you do brakes and then they fall off and everyone dies. Never want that. Makes you look bad. Alright. Y'all see my 14mm around here? I was throwing dumb places. That's 17, don't do that. Alright. 14mm wrench it is. Tighten those. These don't need to be as tight as the others, but gotta make sure it's tight enough. You can look up the specifications. You should probably use a torque wrench if you're not experienced. Once you get old and cocky like me, you just go in there and do it. Alright. So we now have fresh new rotor, fresh pads. These are all tightened up. Double checking what I did a second ago. As you can see, up here, it slides nice and free.
Nice.
So that's good. In case I got me grubby old fingers on something, you can give it some of that brake clean. Oh yeah, a little bit there. On a clean piece of your rag. Off your stuff. It's good to use maybe like a fresh piece of paper towel or something, but brake clean's quite effective at degreasing. Backside. Don't spray yourself in the face. Wildly carcinogenic, this stuff. You should wear gloves unless you like the liver cancer. Make sure nice and grease free. And then pretty much take this sucker off, get the wheels back on, and good to go. Alright. She's not coming off. She will. Ye old hammer. Alright. Yeah, still have it up in the air to get the wheels up, obviously. Get all these suckers on. Oopsies. I'm not really tightening them much, just gotta make sure they're all on. Feel it's tight. Pretty much get them, you know, tight-ish, like pretty much as you can with it in the air. You gotta do it in a star pattern or cross. Make sure that way, if you have one fully tight, all the other ones loose, it can set at an angle and have all manner of crises. Yeah, that's good enough. And you just tighten her. Again, the star pattern. Now, anybody who's not really familiar with cars should probably have a torque wrench to do this kind of thing. Or at least I can't advise against it. But, you know, if you just got a lug wrench, tighten it up enough. Don't go insane, because you want to be able to take it off again after. But
Unless you're the Hulk.
Unless you're the Hulk, then you do what you want, you know. And these weirdos, you gotta line up this guy with the little nubby. Get him started. Yeah, don't want to tighten these really. That's not going in there. Alright. So, everything's all tight, double checked. Fire up. Before you go anywhere, pump the heck out of the brakes. Because when you first do the brakes,
Parking brakes on.
they're all loose. Thank you. They're all loose. And once you put in reverse and try to go back, it won't stop at first. You'll have a bad time. So, you want to take her for a nice slow test drive, somewhere without a huge amount of traffic. Do some emergency braking, make sure everything works out. And then you're done.